Northern Ireland, some heavy showers just pushing into western coasts, and elsewhere across England and Wales, a mixture of showers and also some sunny spells. And that's pretty much the theme for the rest of the day. Now, most showers are going to be pushing into western areas. Some of these could be heavy at times with some hail and thunder. There should also be some brighter spells though, central parts of England, parts of the east and southeast, but it's still worth keeping your rain jacket close. A risk of showers here too. Temperatures around about average for this time of year, highs reaching around 18 to 19 degrees Celsius. Heading into Sunday, and it should remain dry and bright for the first part of the day, feeling a little cool. Things are set to change though, a very heavy and blustery band of rain pushing its way northeastwards, a chance we could see some gales around exposed coast, so turning more unsettled through the course of the day, staying the driest for longest across the far northeast of Scotland. There is a Met Office wind warning issued for Sunday into Monday, so keep an eye on our website for any details.
Today's outlook: cool, calm and completely horizontal. Boxed Aircon sponsors the weather on GB News.
You could bank an incredible £30,000 in tax-free cash to spend however you like. And if that wasn't enough, you'll also get to drive away in this brand new motorhome. This brand new 2025 Benimar Primero could be yours. It comes with all the mod cons you'd expect from a vehicle worth over £74,000 and comfortably sleeps 4 people. This prize package is worth over £104,000. For another chance to win, text WIN to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message, or text bonus to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB16 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 31st of October. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand.
Hi, I'm Michelle Dewberry, and my show is your opportunity to cut through all the noise and dive in headfirst to some robust debates. Ideas clash.
Situation, isn't it? Because the failure is...
You're deliberately avoiding my point. Nothing's held back.
And if you think this is the end of it, wait for more.
And we do not shy away from the difficult stuff.
Sometimes I want to shake people and say, if only you understood.
So join me on Jubes & Co. weeknights at 6 p.m, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Mornings don't have to be tiresome, especially if you have the right company.
Wake up to news as it happens, opinion and debate, and of course, a little bit of entertainment too.
Because when the kettle's on, we're on.
That's Breakfast on GB News, a show worth waking up for.
Every morning from 6 a.m.
Only on the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
We'll spread the news, you spread the word.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
So he can say whatever he wants.
A straight-talking show where all voices are heard.
And, you know, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country.
There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor.
Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Daubney, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m, weekdays, here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world.
Am I allowed to talk now?
No, that's it. This is where it matters, real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
In fact, has Trump made a good start? No.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints.
How many fingers have I got up?
About 10. So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m, only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Welcome to Patrick Christys Tonight with me, Nana Acquia, and a live studio audience. Yay!
We got him.
The Charlie Kirk manhunt is over.
Those people who posted on TikTok, open TikToks calling for me to be killed yesterday, Let's see if the police go and arrest them. Yes. Shall we?
But the reverberations from his death have only just begun. The hashtag Be Kind Brigade have shown their true colours. We'll go live to GB News US presenter Ben Leo in Washington, D.C. for all of the latest. Also tonight,
I would love reconciliation with my family. I don't know how much longer my father has.
Prince Harry made a surprise visit to the Ukraine today after a trip to London and his first meeting with the King in 19 months. Is it time for the royal family to forgive Harry? Plus,
the ambassador has repeatedly expressed his deep regret for his association with him. He's right to do so. I have confidence in him.
The Prime Minister's right-hand man, Morgan McSweeney, pushed for Lord Mandelson to become US ambassador despite his links to Jeffrey Epstein. Is it time for the Prime Minister to come clean about what he knew and when? And the number of Channel migrants who have crossed into Britain since December 2018 now exceeds the entire British Army. How much more can we take? On my panel tonight, it's Labour MP Barry Gardiner, former Tory MP Jane Stevenson, broadcaster Christo Fufas, and the former spokesman for Reform UK, Gowan Towler. Cheer up! Get ready, Britain. Here we go. Would you risk putting your head above the parapet? Next.
Very good evening to you. Just after 9 o'clock, we'll be back with Nana shortly. First, though, the headlines. Several hundred people have gathered in Whitehall tonight for a vigil remembering Charlie Kirk. The event was organised by Turning Point UK, drawing a mostly young crowd, standing quietly beneath a Union Jack flag. Earlier today, US officials named 22-year-old Tyler Robinson from Utah as the man accused of killing Kirk. Investigators say he drove to Utah Valley University, changed clothes on a rooftop before the shooting, and later abandoned his rifle in nearby woods. Well, tonight, Utah's Governor Stephen Cox confirmed what's known so far about the suspect.
We got him. Investigators discovered a bolt-action rifle wrapped in a dark-colored towel. Inscriptions that had been engraved on casings found with the rifle read, "Hey fascist!" ! Catch! ! This is a very sad day for our country, a terrible day for the state of Utah, but I'm grateful that at this moment we have an opportunity to bring closure to this very dark chapter in our nation's history.
Spencer Cox there, the Governor of Utah. Here at home, pressure is mounting on Downing Street after the sacking of Lord Peter Mandelson as Britain's ambassador to Washington. He was dismissed over his links to Jeffrey Epstein, links known at the time, but Number 10 says fresh evidence only emerged this week. It's the second ministerial crisis in a week for Labour after Angela Rayner's resignation. Opposition parties are now demanding the release of vetting documents over Mandelson, but Foreign Secretary Yvette Cooper has defended the move.
That decision has rightly been taken, and now our focus continues to be on the work that we will continue to do, not just with the US government, but with governments across the world, under the Prime Minister's strong leadership.
Yvette Cooper there speaking earlier from Kyiv. Britain's biggest drug maker has delivered a fresh blow to the UK economy. AstraZeneca has paused a £200 million expansion of its Cambridge research hub. The project was meant to create 1,000 jobs, but it now joins a £450 million vaccine plant also scrapped this year. It means none of AstraZeneca's much-trumpeted £650 million package is moving forward, in stark contrast to its £37 billion pledge in the United States. The Met Police has tonight suspended 9 officers at Charing Cross after allegations of excessive force and discriminatory comments. The Independent Office for Police Conduct says the claims, involving officers from constable to sergeant, relate to incidents between August last year and January this year. The same station was at the centre of a damning 2022 report into racist, sexist and homophobic messages. The watchdog says this latest probe will be robust and independent. And a new poll shows what matters most to the public when it comes to the NHS. And, well, it is clear being able to see a GP quickly tops that list. It's the #1 priority for patients, ahead of improvements in A&E and staff retention. Sir Keir Starmer's flagship pledge that by 2029, 92% of people will get routine hospital treatment within 18 weeks only comes 5th in the rankings. That is the news on GB News. I'll be back with you for a full roundup at 10. Now, though, it's over to Nana.
Good evening and welcome back to Patrick Christys tonight with me, Nana Acquare, and of course my fabulous live studio audience. Now, of course, earlier today, the FBI announced that they have the man suspected of killing the political activist Charlie Kirk in custody, naming him as 22-year-old Tyler Robinson. Let's go live now to our man on the ground in Washington, D.C., Ben Leo. Ben, welcome to the programme. Really good to talk to you. So, Ben, what more can you tell us about all the developments that are happening there?
Good evening, Nana. Good evening, viewers, and the viewers in the studio as well. Great to see you. As a reminder of all the quite extraordinary detail that we've heard today about the arrest of this young guy, Tyler Robinson, a 22-year-old, it was his father, who was a sheriff, who eventually handed him in to the authorities. But revelations about how and why he came to do what he did, killing Charlie Kirk in cold blood, have been spoken about today. The young guy, Tyler Robinson, was apparently messaging a friend on the Discord messaging app. It's a platform used regularly for gamers, saying that he thought Charlie Kirk was a hateful person and he was full of hate. That led to the events we saw some 35 hours ago, where Charlie Kirk, a father of 2, of course, political titan, we've discussed it many times, lost his life. Key to this is the inscriptions on the bullets that the authorities retrieved here in the United States in Utah, engraved with anti-fascist messaging, including the Ciao Bella phrase, which has long been considered now to be associated with the far left. It was an anthem used by those fighting the Nazis back in the World War. What I'd like to talk about, oh, sorry, by the way, before I move on, the Tyler Robinson, he's in court on Tuesday. He'll be appearing virtually from Utah County jail cell. And President Donald Trump hinted this morning on Breakfast TV that Charlie Kirk's funeral may possibly be next weekend after President Trump arrives back from his state visit in the UK. The president saying he feels obliged to attend if he can. But the fallout from all this is interesting, Nana, because we've seen, let's talk about the UK for a second. Adam Bolton, the former Sky News presenter, the media dinosaur, as some people call him now, who once said that GB News was upsetting the broadcast territory in the UK by simply existing and presenting other points of view. He was tweeting earlier today, to much controversy, that nobody cares in the UK who Charlie Kirk is, nobody knows who he was, and questioning some of his views. Well, what was funny about that, Nana, was that if you cast your minds back to 2020, when George Floyd was killed by a police officer here in the United States, who was tweeting about Sky News' massive production, an 8-9 minute production about George Floyd and his life and his memory? Oh, it was Adam Bolton, wasn't it? So it seems that if you're on the left side of the argument and something happens politically which sends shockwaves around the world, it's of interest to British viewers. But when it comes to Charlie Kirk, who is a conservative activist and campaigner, people don't seem to care. People such as Adam Bolton, anyway. And in the US, there's been other developments with similar characters. Stephen King was was tweeting yesterday about how Charlie Kirk was a far-right racist homophobe. Well, Stephen King has actually deleted that tweet today and given a bit of a mea culpa. He said what we actually demonstrated was how some people cherry-pick biblical passages. I've deleted that post on X, and this is what I get for reading something on Twitter without fact-checking. It won't happen again. So that seems to be the vibe here, Nana, both here and the UK, this kind of post-truth evaluation of Charlie Kirk, who he was, painting him into some sort of nasty character, when the truth is he was just a political activist with views that many people seem are common sense.
Ben Leo, thank you very much. So there you have it. The manhunt is over, but the reverberations from Charlie Kirk's horrendous killing are still being felt. Guns are far less easily obtained in Britain, but anyone who thinks that our politicians or any outspoken political activists are safe should think again. Charlie Kirk's murder wasn't a warning of political violence to come. It was a warning. In fact, it's already here. Just yesterday, 24 hours after Charlie Kirk's death, Labour MP Sharon Hodgson's office was set on fire in a suspected arson attack. The message, 328 days of blood on your hands, was spray-painted on the wall. Earlier this year, 2 homes and a car linked to the Prime Minister set alight. He condemned the fires as attacks on democracy. And on Christmas Eve last year, former Tory MP Mike Freer, his constituency office was set alight. Mr Freer cited the fire and unrelated death threats when he stood down last year. While terrifying, these incidents pale into comparison to the fate of Sir David Amos.
Police emergency. Please, quick now. The man is wielding a knife and he's threatened me. Where are you? He's killed David Amos at Belfast Methodist Church. Belfast? Belfast Methodist Church on Eastwood Road North. Okay, we've already got units running, okay? Sorry? Units are already on their way, okay? What's going on? I know, but he's still wielding the knife.
In 2021, the Tory MP was murdered at his constituency surgery by an Islamic extremist of Somalian heritage. In 2016, Labour MP Joe Cox was murdered by a white supremacist who shouted "Britain first" just days before the EU referendum. In May 2010, current Labour Minister Stephen Timms survived an attempted murder by Islamist terrorist Roshanara Chowdhury, who stabbed him twice in the abdomen at his constituency surgery. And just today, Reform UK leader Nigel Farage spoke out about the threats that he faces.
What I will say is, if we are serious about understanding what the limits of free speech are, right, and I will say this actually, those people who posted on TikTok, open TikToks calling for me to be killed yesterday, let's see if the police go and arrest them. Yes. Shall we?
So to those who think that Charlie Kirk's murder was just a warning, a precursor of things to come here in the UK, think again. Political violence is already here. And anyone that is prepared to put their head above the parapet and express their sometimes controversial opinion is already in danger. Well, let's get a question from the audience. Let's take a question. Simon.
Hi. Evening. Can you hear me OK?
We can hear you loud, yeah.
So this is from the Charlie Kirk's issues and the murder yesterday. And it came as a bit of a shock to me, and I think it came a bit of a shock to everybody. We watch him on TikTok every day and watch his podcasts, and they were very enlightening. I don't believe in everything he says, but I believed in a lot of the things he said. So my question is, to what extent do political parties and their leaders bear the responsibility for the current atmosphere of hostility and extremism?
All right, so we start with you, Jane Stevenson.
Oh, thank you. It's a really good question. I was really, as everybody was, horrified to see Charlie Kirk was murdered, assassinated, and the response to that assassination really shocked me as much as the act. I think people celebrating the death of a young father and husband was horrifying. I think as a human race, we are still getting used to the internet. And I think when I was in Parliament, I had someone convicted of making a death threat against me when I was there. It's not what you hope to go into when you start with good intentions. But I think the internet has changed the game for all of us, and it's changed the anger levels and the spread of anger. And I think I'm grateful we don't have guns as readily available in the UK, but I'm sure Barry has had death threats as well. It is part of the job, and I do think the internet has accelerated it. Whether it's party leaders or just the discourse in the last Parliament, there were certainly Labour pile-on campaigns that fueled death threats. I think mine came after they decided to announce that the Tories had voted to starve children, and it was talked about in very inflammatory language. We were actually removing a temporary support measure that had been there when schools were closed to provide a supplement for the free school meal, what kids would have normally been having in school. So I think, sadly, the tactics of politics, I think, have probably got a little bit too heated. But I do think it's the internet. We're not used to using the internet yet. And I think all MPs have that fear.
Christys, do you think it's the internet, or do you think there's quite a bit more going on there?
Well, the internet is a part of it, and we're not going to, I think, be able to move away from that very easily. And also, a part of me doesn't want us to, because I think we should be able to free, as long as it doesn't cross a line into like really violent threats, I think we should be able to have controversial discourse on the internet. And I don't think that's going to change going forward. What should change is what our MPs and what our elected officials are saying and the level of discourse that they provide. So, for instance, a couple of examples. Sadiq Khan, Donald Trump is like a 20th century fascist. He warned Western democracy was at risk of resurgent fascism ahead of the Trump inauguration. Donald Trump is a racist KKK and Nazi sympathiser, said David Lammy. Now, clearly they didn't mean that, because when Donald Trump got re-elected, you know, David Lammy is now seeing him, but it's the kind of discourse that gets clicks and that gets people interested in your party and hopefully gets them elected. And I think that is repellent, and it's also a really bad example to set, because it does start at the top. And actually, you know, we could all be blamed for a little bit of hyperbole, I think, now and then, but I do think our elected officials bear more of a responsibility to go by the old adage, which is, I might not disagree with what you have to say, but I will defend your right to say it.
Do you know, I've never called anyone a neo-Nazi sympathising sociopath.
Far right, you know, is thrown around like there's no tomorrow. It's wrong.
To my head to say that. Has anyone done that here? No. It's interesting, isn't it? Barry Gardner.
I probably didn't agree with a great deal of what that young man said and stood for. I'm appalled by his death, and I respect the fact that he wanted to air his disagreement with other people through debate. And that's what he did. And I think we all have a responsibility to fight words with words. Yes, Jane's right. I have somebody who was put into prison because he wanted to decapitate me. And all MPs that I know have lived under some sort of threat or actual physical violence. It is now rated, being an MP is now rated the most dangerous job in the UK. And that's quite simply because there are only 650 of us, and 2 of us have been assassinated in the past decade, with others actually having physical violence. But I think you're right to talk about the internet. I think you're right to talk about the algorithm. But Christo's right. We have choice. We have a choice. And what we can do is we can either always watch the things that reinforce our beliefs, or we can try and watch things that sometimes disagree with what we say. And, you know, people used to say to me, why are you reading the Tory graph? And I'd say, because I need to know what the other side think. And it's really important that we have that discourse where we understand where people are coming from. I mean, quite honestly, Nana, that's why I come on this programme.
Yeah.
I know that most people who watch GB News, and perhaps most of you in the audience, don't agree with my political views.
And on the panel as well. And on the panel as well.
But we love him, though, don't we?
Yeah.
Come on, he's all right.
The reason I come here is because I take those views that you have seriously, and I want to be able to debate with you and provide respectful and serious counter-arguments to them. That, I believe, is what Charlie Kirk was doing.
I think he was,
and that's the tragedy of this situation.
Yeah. Well, I think that's why I listened to James O'Brien. Right, go and tell her.
What?
James O'Brien on LBC.
I thought he said that. Oh, no, I think everybody on the panel thinks the same way. I myself have received a number of death threats, and it goes with the territory. It just goes with the territory. And you can't live your life in fear. And it's clear that Charlie Kirk didn't. He spoke about the threats, he spoke about the danger, and he went out very publicly, very openly, proved me wrong. He wanted people to disagree with him. I was at the Red Vigil this evening. On Whitehall. There was more than a couple of hundred. There was a good couple of thousand, 3,000 there. And what was interesting, I was actually talking to a chap next to the chap from the New Statesman, who is a left-wing journalist, and he was saying he was really surprised. He was expecting the crowd to be much smaller, but also to be energised by what Charlie Kirk was saying, to be anti-abortion, to be this, to be that, the things that Charlie Kirk believed in. And what he found was, he'd been talking to a lot of people, what he found was, no, they were there just for the free speech aspect and the fear of that. But whilst, I mean, in the last week, we've had a senior Labour official describe Farage as Hitler. We've had a senior minister with the backing of Number 10 describing him as somebody who supports Jimmy Savile and paedophiles. This is the language which is going on here, and this is the language that creates this sort of violence. I know Farage, everybody laughed when Farage had milkshakes thrown at him, but I tell you what, until that liquid hits your face, you do not know what it is.
Yeah.
And when you have a comedian the next day, Joe Brand, on TV, saying it should have been battery acid, it's not just politicians.
No,
it's not just politicians.
Yeah.
And so, whilst I don't think we should ban people from saying things they wish to say, and I don't, but they do have to take some level of responsibility. We believe in free speech, even the ability to be vile.
All right. Well, listen, Geraint Towler, thank you very much. My brilliant panel, Barry Gardiner, Jane Stevenson, Christo Fufas and Geraint Towler. Right. It's time now for our Great British Giveaway, and it's our biggest prize to date. It's worth over £100,000. It includes a four-berth motorhome worth over £74,000 and £30,000 in tax-free cash. Here are the details.
You're not going to want to miss our greatest Great British giveaway so far. You could bank an incredible £30,000 in tax-free cash to spend however you like. And if that wasn't enough, you'll also get to drive away in this brand new motorhome. With thanks to Marquis Leisure, this brand new 2025 Benimar Primero could be yours. It comes with all the mod cons you'd expect from a vehicle worth over £74,000 and comfortably sleeps 4 people. This prize package is worth over £104,000. And remember, if you can dream it, you can drive it away. For another chance to win, text WIN to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message. Or text BONUS to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB16, PO Box 8690, Derby, DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrants must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 31st of October. The winner will be contacted live on GB News, week commencing 10th November. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
Good luck indeed. Coming up, Reform UK have vowed to stuff the civil service full of believers. That's if they win the next election. So is this the only way to leave the ECHR and stop the small boats? My panel and my audience have their say in just a few minutes.
At GB News, we love to hear from you, our loyal community. So drop us a line at gbnews.com/yoursay. There you can talk to each other and also to the presenters live on air. gbnews.com/yoursay. Because GB News is your channel, Britain's news channel.
Hi, I'm Michelle Dewberry, and my show is your opportunity to cut through all the noise and dive in headfirst to some robust debates. Ideas clash.
Situation,
No,
isn't it?
no,
Because the failure is
you're deliberately avoiding my point. Nothing's held back,
And if you think this is the end of it, wait for more.
and we do not shy away from the difficult stuff. Sometimes I want to shake people and say, if only you understood. So join me on Dubes & Co. weeknights at 6 p.m, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Mornings don't have to be tiresome, especially if you have the right company.
Wake up to news as it happens, opinion and debate, and of course, a little bit of entertainment too.
Because when the kettle's on, we're on.
That's Breakfast on GB News, a show worth waking up for.
Every morning from 6 a.m.
Only on the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
We'll spread the news, you spread the word.
In the GB newsroom, we bring you the news as it happens.
With our team of dedicated journalists across the UK,
we're ready to keep you up to date with what's happening every half an hour, every single day. Bulletins here on GB News,
the People's Channel,
Britain's news channel.
At GB News, we are proud to stand for you, for the Britain you love, for the communities you live in. That's what makes us the fearless champions of Britain. Its voices and its values. Because we, at GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
You want to know what's really going on in the corridors of power? Labour don't know what to do with you half the time, and that makes you quite lethal in the chamber. Get behind the headlines with Chopper's political podcast. Join me, Christopher Hope, as I sit down with the great and the good of British politics. We'll see where this ruling takes us. These are the stories shaping our nation. Chopper's political podcast, available now on all platforms. Listen in and stay ahead.
Join me, Nana Akweer, for an informative, interactive news programme with a difference. It's fun. No, he didn't say that, Dave. I'm so surprised.
I think there's an element of truth to that.
Join me from 3 p.m. every weekend, only on GB News, Britain's news channel. Welcome back to Patrick Christys tonight with me, Nana Akweer, and my live studio audience. Woo! And in the biggest push yet for Britain to leave the European Convention of Human Rights, former Home Secretary Suella Braverman this week united with Reform UK. She united to publish a detailed legal and diplomatic roadmap titled Why and How to Leave the ECHR. As part of that plan, the party's deputy leader, Richard Tice, said a reform government would set up an immigration department of believers, staffed by civil servants who back Britain quitting the ECHR. So, do we need a civil service full of believers? Well, joining me now, my panel, Labour MP Barry Gardiner, former Tory MP Jane Stevenson, Broadcaster Christo Fufas, former spokesman for Reform UK Gwen Towler. So, Barry, do we need an army of believers now? Because even the Labour Party are talking about leaving the ECHR. There's a small clique of them who are talking about it.
Well, look, I think the politicisation of the civil service is wrong, whoever does it. The virtue of the British civil service is that it's there to carry out government policy, and it's there to effect that policy, but to advise ministers the best way to do it. The difficulty with the group of believers is actually you may not get the effective policies that you want because believers tend to be so committed to something that they don't say, well, actually, this might be a problem or that might be a problem. So I don't think you want any... I don't think any government should want people in the civil service all to believe exactly what they believe.
Why not? Because that's why we're having an issue, Jane. You sort of grimaced when he said that.
Well, I think we did see when Rwanda was going through and we, in the last Parliament, said that Rwanda was a safe country. The Senior Civil Servant Union took the government to court saying you're forcing civil servants to do something against international law. And so when there's something like that there is... I mean, I was hammering my own government to get more progress on it. But I do think, obviously, yes, you want scrutiny and you want those policies to come in the best. I don't think reform would suggest that they just have people who are going to nod and do things. They need to come up with the actual method. But there is a case in the USA, it happens.
They would stuff the civil service full of believers.
Well, Barry, hold on. We have had senior officials in the Border Force and the immigration system going revolving door out of that to work for pro-migration charities. OK, I'm not saying that everybody has to be a hardcore believer or a reform voter or something of this sort, but when you've got that, and what you're talking about a neutral civil service, I'm sorry, it's not the case. That is a pious hope from the 19th century. Today, the civil service is politicised, whether you like it or not, and maybe we may be more honest by going to a more American system and having the top echelon of the departments being politicised. Because let's be honest about it, it's happening anyhow, so maybe honesty is better than the current fiction.
I don't think it is actually...
All right, let's get Mark. Sorry, Barry, quickly respond and then we'll get Mark on.
If you have any evidence that somebody, when they are a civil servant, obstructs...
Well, look at the Substacks and the Reddits of civil service. They're actually saying we are going to obstruct.
All right, listen, let's get Mark. Mark's got a question. Yes.
My question is, why aren't they staffed with believers anyway? They're civil servants. The clue's in the name. Why don't they just do as they're told?
Exactly.
You mentioned about the point about providing analysis. Go away and provide the analysis, right? If they are obstructing to say that it's against the law, go away and find a way around it, right? Why are these people even arguing? You're civil servants. Just do as you're bloody told.
Exactly.
Well, I think that we've got a problem, haven't we? That I think Dominic Cummings, I think, some people in Starmer's government, they've all said that the wheels of the civil service move so slowly sometimes, and that's when they're kind enough to turn up to work. And so, I don't know if you've ever tried to sort of get in touch with them ever. So I do think that there is logic in saying, look, if we have a policy that we have to get through, and I take your point, if it's just full of believers and no one else, then that wouldn't work. You need to have some scrutiny, you need to have a couple of voices in the room saying, look, have you thought about whether this would work, what the downfall might be? But I think one of the problems we've got in this country is that all we ever do is debate the downfall in things and have judicial reviews and have constant conversations and constant then reviews and court cases on anything, which is why we get absolutely nothing done. And so I do think there is logic to saying, look, we need more of the people who are on board with policy, because if the civil service aren't doing it right at the moment, then it needs a shake-up.
Yeah. Look, they're unelected. They have not been elected. The public have elected the MPs to do the work that we require. So it's not up to them to make decisions. They're just meant to implement policy that they're told to implement, and that should be that.
But Nana, you've got. We've all seen the thick of it. We've all seen Sir Humphrey. Now, the reason why those comedies work is because there's truth in them. The reasons why they're funny is because there's truth in them. I'm convinced that the winter fuel allowance was the Chancellor being Sir Humphrey'd. Oh, look, here's a policy we prepared earlier.
They pushed it for a long time.
I've been trying it with the Tories have turned it down and think, oh, we've got a new Chancellor. Here, got this lovely policy.
All right, we've got to move on very quickly, Barry. Go on.
I remember as
10
Minister,
seconds.
one of my directors coming in with 6 people behind him saying, now, Minister, how can I persuade you not to do what you want to do? Right? And he gave me all the Sir Humphrey arguments. But at the end of the day, I said, sorry.
You're still the Minister.
You can't persuade me not to do it because that's the policy that I'm setting. And they carried it out.
Well, that's all good. All good. Right, listen, stay with us because coming up...
I would love reconciliation.
with my family. I don't know how much longer my father has.
Prince Harry's wish came true this week. He met his father, the King, for the first time in 19 months. So is it time for the royal family to forgive Harry and Meghan? That's next.
I hope we haven't forgotten anything.
Travel insurance, I tick that box.
Yeah, but remember what you forgot last year.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
It's a mostly settled picture across much of Europe. Occasional sunshine in places, otherwise lots of sunshine. And that's the story across Spain and Portugal. Mostly settled here, plenty of sunny spells, though we could see some showers affecting Barcelona, also parts of Nice. But elsewhere across Italy, the Adriatic coastline, all the way through into Greece, it should be mostly dry, settled, plenty of sunshine. And that theme will continue as we head into next week, along with the warm temperatures. Bye-bye.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GB News Travel Destinations Forecast.
Hello there, good evening. Welcome to your GB News weather update from the Met Office. This weekend will start off with sunshine and showers, but eventually turning wet and windy through Sunday with a Met Office wind warning in force across a large portion of the country. The reason for this unsettled spell of weather, well, it's all thanks to low pressure situated to the north of the country, bringing us in this westerly flow. So we often bring in fronts, if not some low pressure systems from the Atlantic. Now through into this evening, we will see showers continuing for a time, if not some quite heavy showery outbreaks starting to push into southern Scotland, northern parts of England, some quite heavy downpours associated with this and also some strong gusty winds. Fair amount of cloud around, so temperatures aren't dropping too low, lows reaching around 8 to 9 degrees Celsius. To start off the weekend then, there is going to be plenty of showers, particularly across Scotland through the early hours. This heavy band of showers eventually clearing its way northeastwards, quite breezy at times and still some isolated showers around western coasts. A fairly cloudy start to the day across Northern Ireland, some heavy showers just pushing into western coasts. And elsewhere across England and Wales, a mixture of showers and also some sunny spells. And that's pretty much the theme for the rest of the day. Now most showers are going to be pushing into western areas. Some of these could be heavy at times with some hail and thunder. There should also be some brighter spells though, central parts of England, parts of the east and southeast, but it's still worth keeping your rain jacket close, a risk of showers here too. Temperatures around about average for this time of year, highs reaching around 18 to 19 degrees Celsius. Heading into Sunday, and it should remain dry and bright for the first part of the day, feeling a little cool. Things are set to change though, a very heavy and blustery band of rain pushing its way northeastwards, a chance we could see some gales around exposed coast, so turning more unsettled through the course of the day, staying the driest for longest across the far northeast of Scotland. There is a Met Office wind warning issued for Sunday into Monday, so keep an eye on our website for any details.
In the GB newsroom, we bring you the news as it happens.
With our team of dedicated journalists across the UK.
We're ready to keep you up to date with what's happening every half an hour, every single day. Bulletins here on GB News.
The People's Channel.
Britain's news channel.
Miriam, you can't be serious. Scrapping the triple lock on state pensions? Madness.
Andrew, we just can't carry on pretending. The numbers just don't add up. We've got to be honest with people. We've got to face the facts. That's what people want.
Well, that's what you get on GB News and on Britain's newsroom. Lively debates, lively conversation.
Britain deserves a newsroom that puts the facts and your voice first, and we're not afraid to hold power to account.
And each other. So join me, Andrew Pearce.
And me, Miriam Cates, for Britain's newsroom, weekdays from 9:30 on GB News.
The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Good evening. Welcome back to Patrick Christys tonight with me, Nana Aquia, and my live studio audience. Well, let's talk about Prince Harry. He made a surprise. Who loves Prince Harry? Let's have a cheer for Harry.
I want
Oh, there's one person at the back.
I'm going to show ginger solidarity. I'm going to speak up for him.
It's wonderful. At least someone will. Well, Prince Harry, he's made a surprise visit to Kyiv today, although he admitted that he'd had to get his wife's permission to visit the war-torn country. Earlier this week, the Duke of Sussex was reunited with the King for the first time in 19 months, with the meeting between father and son in London lasting just under an hour. So is it time now for the King to forgive and forget? What do you think? Let's go straight to our audience. Let's ask Jan. Jan, what do you think?
Yeah, that was my question. After they did meet this week, do you think it might be eased by the King and Queen Camilla being the peacemakers between the brothers, now that Diana is not here? And if he is very well qualified diplomatically to do it.
All right, let's go to Christys. He's a bit of a royalist.
I love the royal family, but I think that Harry and Meghan, whom I once loved, are just loathsome, insufferable. I think that they have... I'm sorry, they are. They have done everything that they could to try and sling grenades at the family and monetise their misery by slagging off their family, whom at the time, let's not forget, the late Queen Elizabeth, Prince Philip were literally, seriously ill, yet they were throwing accusations of racism, writing books knowing that they wouldn't respond, trying to make as much money as they could out of all of this so that they could sell their tat and become cheap reality stars, which is now what they are. So I'm sorry, I think that if it were down to me, fine, you can come back into the family, but you have to sign a non-disclosure agreement and you have to lock the Netflix crew behind the gates because they're not allowed to come in.
Don't mince your words. Jane, is he being fair?
I do partly agree with what Christo said. I think whoever was advising him this week had a much better pitch than previous people that have been advising Meghan and Harry. He came and did a charity event for sick children. He went privately and spent time with his father, and now he's called in to Ukraine. And I just hope he doesn't talk about it. I don't want to hear anything he and his father spoke about. I'm really pleased they had a meeting together. I don't know, the lady on the front, I don't know if it'll improve with William. I think from rumour we hear there's a lot of bad feeling there, but it would be nice to get somewhere civil for the whole family. I think, I don't enjoy seeing Meghan and Harry, go totally sort of AWOL. But I do think they've, as Christo said, they've monetised things they really shouldn't have, and they've said things they really shouldn't have. And I think the royal family needs to be private. His father's health needs to be private. So I just hope he can keep his mouth shut. He's done some good work this week, and I hope, relations have improved a little.
All right, go on, Towler.
Frankly, I don't think it's our business. It's a family. They try to sort of... Many families have troubles. They really do. But their troubles are in the glare of publicity. Many families have difficult children, siblings, but it's not done in this massive glaze of publicity. I'm a great royalist, but I'm more a monarchist than a royalist in the sense that it's the institution rather than individuals that...
But it's their own fault. Their own fault, though. I mean,
it is.
They have to go and sell their story, Empire 2.0.
I 100% agree with you, but partially that's our fault because we're so hungry for gossip. Until I read the notes, I didn't realise he'd been here because I'm that uninterested. I'm a monarchist. I think the institution's great, but the individuals are not as important as the institution.
Well, I'm really pleased that you said that, Gawain. We started this programme talking about ill-tempered language, not inciting hatred, and then we have people being called loathsome and insufferable. I agree with Gawain. It's any family has its difficulties, and to be able to heal those, to be able to forgive and forget, is something we all need to be able to do. In any relationship, we need to be able to forgive people. And I hope that you're right. I hope that actually the King does manage to broker that peace between the brothers. But I think Gawain's right. The less we all focus on it, the less the media makes a circus out of it, the better and the more chance there is of really...
All right. Okay, I'm going to tell you why you're talking out of your annus horribilis. Because calling someone loathsome and insufferable who has raised millions out of the public purse and also used their position to slag off our institution is very different to politicians in your party using terms like Nazi and fascist. And so I think that is an ill-judged comparison that you have made.
I think you know me well enough that I would not condone anybody calling people Hitler or Nazis.
I know, and I'm not saying you do.
And therefore I don't take the criticism because it's not directed at me. But what I do say is that why do we need to talk about people in that deprecating way? I don't see that anybody is made bigger by diminishing other people in that way.
So are you talking to me or talking to Harry and Meghan? Because that's what they've done. That's precisely what Harry and Meghan have done. If they hadn't done that, there wouldn't be this criticism towards them. They have done that.
The country did love them at the beginning.
Yeah.
The country absolutely loved them. We were delighted.
I punched the air.
Absolutely delighted.
She's going to make space for it. Oh, when does this going to be wonderful?
I remember
the
when
babies are going to be amazing. I wonder how dark they'll be. I wonder what her hair will be like. I thought all
you racist. You terrible racist. You worried about the colour of the child. Oh, my word.
I said that about my own son. He's mixed race. And I thought, oh, my goodness.
Precisely. This is not a racist question. This is a perfectly normal question.
We decided he would be called Ivory, and I thought, what if he comes out really dark? He's called Ivory. That's like a really light colour. That's not racist, that's just curiosity. Well, listen, so what do you think? Is it time for the King to forgive and forget? But coming up, they botched the first attempt, but with new figures revealing that nearly 500,000 young Brits are on benefits. Does the government need to have a second go at welfare reform? My audience have their say. Next.
Welcome back to Britain's Newsroom with Andrew and Beth.
Hello everyone, Patrick Christys here.
I'm Michelle G. Britain's News Channel.
Access the stories that matter to you. Take the GB News family with you on any device. And as long as you have an internet connection, tune in to GB News anywhere on the planet or beyond. GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Mornings don't have to be tiresome, especially if you have the right company.
Wake up to news as it happens, opinion and debate, and of course, a little bit of entertainment too.
Because when the kettle's on, we're on.
That's Breakfast on GB News, a show worth waking up for.
Every morning from 6 a.m.
Only on the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
We'll spread the news, you spread the word.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
He can say whatever he wants.
A straight-talking show where all voices are heard.
And, you know, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country. There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor. Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Daubney, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m, weekdays, here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world.
Am I allowed to talk then?
No, that's it. This is where it matters, real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
In fact, has Trump made a good start? No.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints. How many fingers have I ever got up?
About 10.
So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m, only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
You want to know what's really going on in the corridors of power? Labour don't know what to do with you half the time, and that makes you quite lethal in the chamber. Get behind the headlines with Chopper's political podcast. Join me, Christopher Hope, as I sit down with the great and the good of British politics. We'll see where this ruling takes us. These are the stories shaping our nation. Chopper's political podcast, available now on all platforms. Listen in and stay ahead.
Hi, I'm Michelle Dewberry, and my show is your opportunity to cut through all the noise and dive in headfirst to some robust debates. Ideas clash.
Situation,
No,
Because the failure is...
You're
the failure is...
deliberately avoiding my point. Nothing's held back.
And if you think this is the end of it, wait for more.
And we do not shy away from the difficult stuff. Sometimes I want to shake people and say, if only you understood. So join me on Dubes & Co. weeknights at 6 p.m, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
To Patrick Christys tonight with me, Nana Akwe, and my live studio audience. Now, the government is promising a fresh welfare crackdown as new figures reveal nearly 500,000 young people are now on long-term sickness benefits. Labour sources claim that the appointment of a new Work and Pension Secretary, Pat McFadden, at last week's reshuffle is a sign that the Prime Minister hasn't given up on welfare reform. So is it time for a second go at welfare reform? Let's see what my panel make of that. Who should I start with? I'm going to start with you, Barry Gardner, because it is your government who are sort of looking at that.
Absolutely. Look, what we need to do is to be getting more people who are on benefits into work. And that's one of the programmes that actually the government... And in fairness, the Conservative government had already begun to do that. And what they've done is they've changed the structure of the Benefits Advisory Service so that it's much more personalised, trying to make sure that instead of saying, OK, we've signed you off, that's it, and you don't need to come back, they say, right, it's not about what you can't do, it's about what you can do. Because many people, yes, they may be incapacitated in a number of ways, but it doesn't mean that they can't do some work. And this way of actually now focusing on the individual and what they can do, I think is really important. Yeah. We actually have the highest number of people in work at the moment that we've ever had, but what we need to do is to make sure that we're getting those people who are not in work, whose lives would be hugely improved if they were able to earn, but we need to help them identify what they can do and then support them into doing it.
But Barry, we've also got the highest number of people out of work as well, claiming benefits. Over to you.
Yeah, I'm just going to say, like, 500,000 young Brits are obviously on incapacity benefits, which is shocking, to be fair. I mean, there's a lot of young people out there. They are wanting jobs, but there's just no support for them. And I mean, the government needs to issue more support to get them back into work. Right. It's one of the key things. Now, I'm quite young myself. It was very difficult for me to get onto the job market myself. I had to really push, and I went through some difficult times myself, but I soldiered through, but there was no support for myself. So I did it all, working through.
Well, good on you that you actually had the guts to go for it.
Well, I do think, obviously, with the government tried to push through this bill, but it got watered down so much that it's basically with nothing. It didn't save anything at all, didn't change anything, it didn't support anything. It would just basically paper. So I think it's about time that we need to obviously push through a new bill, be stronger with more supporting for younger people. Yeah. I think that's the views what needs to happen.
Yeah. Very quickly to Gawain. What are reform planning then in terms of getting benefit changes? You've got about 30 seconds.
The main thing we want to change is to make work pay. Because I think there is a significant problem. If there's up to 3 million people, households now on health benefits, I'm sorry, there's something wrong there. There is something wrong there. I don't believe it. In which case, we need to make work pay to be worth doing rather than being on benefits. And there's various things that we can do with that.
And can I just say that one of the most mind-blowing statistics about this is that the number of under 30s claiming incapacity benefit has gone up by more than 50,000 in a year and twice what it was 4 years ago. This is all joined together. We don't teach resilience to young people. We don't give them the tools, as this gentleman was saying, to make them able to face some of the issues that they have in the world, which they inevitably will.
All right, well, listen, coming up.
We got Charlie in the neck.
The hashtag Be Kind Brigade have shown their true colours. I'll tell you why they've got it all wrong when it comes to Charlie Kirk. All of that and more coming up after this. That is next.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Boxed Boilers sponsors the weather on GB News.
Hello there, good evening. Welcome to your GB News weather update from the Met Office. This weekend will start off with sunshine and showers, but eventually turning wet and windy through Sunday with a Met Office wind warning in force across a large portion of the country. The reason for this unsettled spell of weather, well, it's all thanks to low pressure situated to the north of the country, bringing us in this westerly flow. So we often bring in fronts, if not some low pressure systems from the Atlantic. Now through into this evening, we will see showers continuing for a time, if not some quite heavy showery outbreaks starting to push into southern Scotland, northern parts of England, some quite heavy downpours associated with this and also some strong gusty winds. Fair amount of cloud around, so temperatures aren't dropping too low, lows reaching around 8 to 9 degrees Celsius. To start off the week, then there is going to be plenty of showers, particularly across Scotland through the early hours. This heavy band of showers eventually clearing its way northeastwards, quite breezy at times and still some isolated showers around western coasts. A fairly cloudy start to the day across Northern Ireland, some heavy showers just pushing into western coasts, and elsewhere across England and Wales a mixture of showers and also some sunny spells, and that's pretty much the theme for the rest of the day. Now most showers are going to be pushing into western areas. Some of these could be heavy at times with some hail and thunder. There should also be some brighter spells though, central parts of England, parts of the east and southeast, but it's still worth keeping your rain jacket close, a risk of showers here too. Temperatures around about average for this time of year, highs reaching around 18 to 19 degrees Celsius. Heading into Sunday, and it should remain dry and bright for the first part of the day, feeling a little cool. Things are set to change though, a very heavy and blustery band of rain pushing its way northeastwards, a chance we could see some gales around exposed coast, so turning more unsettled through the course of the day, staying the driest for longest across the far northeast of Scotland. There is a Met Office wind warning issued for Sunday into Monday, so keep an eye on our website for any details.
Expect warm spells with the odd rude interruption. Boxed Boilers sponsors the weather on GB News.
This is your chance to win a motorhome and cash in our biggest giveaway to date. Courtesy of Marquis Leisure, you could be the proud owner of this 2025 Benamar Primero. It comfortably accommodates 4 people and can be driven on your standard driving licence. Plus, you'll also bank an incredible £30,000 in tax-free cash to spend on anything you like. Make sure you don't miss out. For another chance to win, text WIN to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message, or text BONUS to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB16 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrance must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 31st of October. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
Hi, I'm Michelle Dewberry, and my show is your opportunity to cut through all the noise and dive in headfirst to some robust debates. Ideas clash.
Situation, isn't it? Because the failure is...
You're deliberately avoiding my point. Nothing's held back.
And if you think this is the end of it, wait for more.
And we do not shy away from the difficult stuff. Sometimes I want to shake people and say, if only you understood. So join me on Jubes & Co. weeknights at 6 p.m, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
In the GB newsroom, we bring you the news as it happens.
With our team of dedicated journalists across the UK,
we're ready to keep you up to date with what's happening every half an hour, every single day. Bulletins here on GB News,
the People's Channel,
Britain's news channel.
Mornings don't have to be tiresome, especially if you have the right company.
Wake up to news as it happens, opinion and debate, and of course, a little bit of entertainment too.
Because when the kettle's on, we're on.
That's Breakfast on GB News, a show worth waking up for.
Every morning from 6 a.m.
Only on the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
We'll spread the news, you spread the word.
Westminster, the ultimate clique. and you're fighting like rats in a sack.
But here on the Camilla Tominey Show, we ask the questions the establishment media is too scared to ask.
OK, let me ask you a straight question, because I know you're a straight-talking politician.
Whether it's net zero, illegal immigration or law and order, nothing is off limits.
You had the power then.
Yeah, as
and now you've lost it.
That's the Camilla Tominey Show, a politics show that's fearless.
But no, let me finish my question if you don't mind, because it is my show.
Sundays at 9:30, only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Crikey, hello and welcome to Patrick Christys Tonight with me, Nana Aquia, and the live studio audience.
We got him.
The Charlie Kirk manhunt is over.
Those people who posted on TikTok, open TikToks calling for me to be killed yesterday, let's see if the police go and arrest them. Shall we?
But the reverberations from his death have only just begun.
We got Charlie and the next.
The hashtag Be Kind Brigade have shown their true colours. Also tonight.
The ambassador has repeatedly expressed his deep regret for his association with him. He's right to do so. I have confidence in him.
The Prime Minister's right-hand man, Morgan McSweeney, pushed for Lord Mandelson to become US ambassador despite his links to Jeffrey Epstein. Is it time for the Prime Minister to come clean about what he knew and when? The number of Channel migrants who crossed into Britain since December 2018 now exceeds the entire British Army. How much more can we take? On my panel tonight, it's Labour MP Barry Gardiner. Former Tory MP Jane Stevenson. Oh, you could do broadcast and Christo Fufas. And former spokesman for Reform UK, Gawain Towler. Get ready, Britain. Here we go. I expose the hypocrisy of the hashtag Be Kind Brigade next.
Very good evening to you from the newsroom just after 10 o'clock. The top story tonight, new details about the man accused of killing political activist Charlie Kirk. The suspect has been named as 22-year-old Tyler Robinson. He was arrested after a two-day manhunt, accused of aggravated murder, firearms offences and obstruction of justice. Utah's Governor Spencer Cox earlier announced the arrest after Robinson's father reportedly went to a church minister who then tipped off the police.
We got him. Investigators discovered a bolt-action rifle wrapped in a dark-colored towel. Inscriptions that had been engraved on casings found with the rifle read, "Hey fascist!" Catch! This is a very sad day for our country, a terrible day for the state of Utah, but I'm grateful that at this moment we have an opportunity to bring closure to this very dark chapter in our nation's history.
Well, here, closer to home, vigils have since been held in London, where hundreds have gathered in Whitehall to remember Charlie Kirk. And the latest update is that Tyler Robinson, the suspect, is now being held without bail and is due in court next Tuesday. In other news tonight, pressure is mounting on Downing Street after the sacking of Lord Peter Mandelson as Britain's ambassador to Washington. He was dismissed over his links to Jeffrey Epstein, links known about at the time, but Number 10 says fresh evidence only emerged this week. It's the second ministerial crisis for Labour in just a week after Angela Rayner's resignation. Opposition parties are now demanding the release of vetting documents over Lord Mandelson. But the Foreign Secretary, Yvette Cooper, has been speaking today and defended the move to dismiss him.
That decision has rightly been taken, and now our focus continues to be on the work that we will continue to do, not just with the US government, but with governments across the world, under the Prime Minister's strong leadership.
Figures from the ONS show that the UK economy stalled in July despite a 0.4% bounce just the month before. The flat growth was dragged down by the steepest fall in manufacturing for a year, down 1.3% and wiping out gains in retail. The director of the ONS says the slump reflects broad-based weakness across manufacturing industries. A 28-year-old man has been charged today with arson after a major fire tore through the constituency office of Labour's Sharon Hodgson. Joshua Oliver's accused of starting the blaze that left part of the building destroyed. Graffiti reading 328 days blood on your hands was also found on a wall. Police say no one was injured, but Downing Street has condemned the attack. Yvette Cooper, the Foreign Secretary, has unveiled 100 new sanctions on Russia's military and energy sectors as she made her first overseas visit as Foreign Secretary to Kyiv. Arriving in the Ukrainian capital, she met her counterpart and pledged the UK's unwavering support. The visit comes just days after Russian drones strayed into Polish airspace during attacks on Ukraine, triggering a NATO response. Well, meanwhile, Prince Harry has also made a surprise visit to Kyiv, saying he wants to do everything possible to support Ukrainians injured in the war. The Duke of Sussex arrived by train, greeting with a hug from the founder of Superhumans, an organisation providing prosthetics and rehabilitation. It's his first trip to the capital, part of a wider work he does with the Invictus Games Foundation. Those are the latest headlines for now. I'll be back with you for one more roundup at 11 o'clock. Now, though, it is back to Nana.
Good evening and welcome back to Patrick Christys Tonight with me, Nana Akweer, and of course my fantastic studio audience. Now, the dust has barely settled on Charlie Kirk's death, and the usual suspects, the #BeKind Brigade, have already shown their true colours.
We got Charlie in the neck. We got Charlie in the neck.
The president-elect of the Oxford Union appeared to celebrate the murder of Charlie Kirk. George Aberonier, who met Kirk during a debate on toxic masculinity earlier this year, made the comments on WhatsApp and Instagram. He said, "We got Charlie shot. Let's effing go." He's since, of course, apologised, and the Oxford Union has condemned the comments too, but there are reports that the university itself will not be taking action due to its free speech policies. Imagine if he'd been right-wing. It's not about free speech, it's about humanity, which he clearly has none of. Former Sky News presenter Adam Bolton wrote it on social media today. Charlie Kirk held racist and sexist views and advocated violence against some opponents. That puts him to the extreme right of any party holding elected office in the UK. You may like him, but you don't try to claim that he fits in the Overton window of political discourse in this country. He was joined by former BBC presenter turned lefty podcaster Lewis Goodall.
So just to emphasise, again, his murder is appalling, but the idea that he was murdered for espousing some sort of common sense, mainstream set of views that others dared not say is nonsense.
But what is really so outrageous about Charlie Kirk's views?
Said
wives, submit to your husbands, as it says repeatedly. But the second part is also really important. We as husbands must be willing to sacrifice ourselves for our wives as Christ died for the church. That means we must be willing to die for our wives.
What's wrong with that? I'd want my partner to die for me. They tried to smear him as a sexist, but he literally said he would die for his wife.
UK is very important to talk about, not just because what's happening in the UK, but also the ramifications here is the UK culturally felt like America before Donald Trump went down the golden escalator. They're in the abyss, but culturally, there is this kind of silent, are we allowed to say this? Are we allowed to challenge this? Are we allowed to talk about this? Are we allowed to question this?
He's right. Look at Lucy Connolly, Graham Linehan. Free speech is dead in the UK. What's so wrong about saying that?
I just want to say I'm a transgender male. What age should kids be able to get things like hormone therapy?
First of all, thank you so much for that.
Yeah, of
and
course.
So I'm going to have an opinion that very few people will ever tell you, which is I want you to be very cautious putting drugs into your system in the pursuit of changing your body. I instead encourage you to work on what's going on in your brain first. I think what you need first and foremost is just a diagnosis. Just someone that is going to listen to what you've gone through, listen to what else is going on. My prayer for you, and again, very few people will say this, I actually want to see you be comfortable in how you were born.
Contrary to what the left want you to believe, he did treat trans people with dignity, respect, and most of all, common sense.
I'm sorry, if I see a black pilot, I'm going to be like, boy, I hope he's qualified.
Well, that's the
you wouldn't have done that. You wouldn't have. You wouldn't have done that before.
That's not an immediate.
No, you wouldn't have done that before.
That's not who I am. That's not what I believe.
It is the reality the left has created.
Well, he's right, isn't he? There was a time when every organisation wanted a token black face. That's what created this narrative. I've lost count of the number of times I've been told that I'm only here because I'm black, the diversity hire. Forget my 30 years of journalistic experience or the fact that I had to prove my worth. The hashtag Be Kind Brigade were all over George Floyd. It was obviously wrong of the police to kill him, but he was a convicted felon. The left had plenty of compassion for Floyd, but not for Charlie Kirk, who was honest about his feelings and also prepared to be proven wrong. Right, well, let's take our first question. It's from Mark. Mark.
Hi, I'm just wondering any specific actions that you would have our colleges and universities take to try and stop our kids being brainwashed from some of these extremist views. I've got a daughter going to university very shortly, actually, and it terrifies me that she's going to get in with the wrong crowd and generate and come away with some really extremist views. And what specific actions, I think, can we take to stop that?
Can I ask you, what do you mean by extremist views? What do you think she might come away with that you're worried about?
The view that just because you say something that somebody disagrees with, you deserve to be killed.
Yeah, and I mean, it's insane, by the way, that we're even having this conversation because it actually ties into what I was saying in the last part about resilience and mental health. And we have tried to legislate and protect young people from hearing things they don't like or any kind of adversity, thinking we're doing them a favour, when in actual fact what we're doing is we're not giving them any resilience, but we're also making people then far less able to tolerate things that they disagree with.
Absolutely, wrapping them up in cotton wool. There's been plenty of instances that I've heard of where certain speakers have been cancelled when they go to do university. Katie Hopkins, I think, was one of them. And that seems crazy to me. You get somebody, you debate them, you find the views, you find common balance.
And if
why
they're so
aren't we
awful,
doing that?
prove them wrong. So it's, you know, come up with evidence and prove them wrong. And that's I didn't agree with everything that Charlie Kirk said. And actually, there's been a lot of people saying, you know, that's so performative to say that after his horrific death. But I think there's no greater compliment than to say that you really admired and loved watching him debate, yet not necessarily agree with every single thing he said. Because that's the key. Is we're not going to solve all this unless we all talk.
So what can we do about it?
One thing, sir. She's your daughter.
Yes.
Have faith in her. She'll be okay.
That you
brought her up.
well enough.
You taught her. You brought her up. She'll be fine. The amount of times I hear this, and yes, I know some children come out of the university like that. I have friends in the similar position as you, but there's have faith. Have faith in them. They're all right. And they'll come back. You can argue with them, debate with them. They'll have different points of view. That's fine. But have faith in them.
And actually listen to what you said earlier about, tell her to read everything. And even the things she doesn't agree with. Talk to the people she doesn't agree with.
That is the point of the university. That's why it's called a university. It's to give you a universal view so that you hear everything, you read everything, you learn how to criticise what you are being told.
But how is that when they're getting shut down? When speakers like Katie Hopkins and others are getting sort of pressurised to stay away. They're not hearing all sides of the debate. They only hear the radicalised versions of it, and it drives them to more extremist
Charlie
views.
Kirk was able to speak at the Oxford
We need
Debating
more
Society.
Charlie Kirks.
And we need that debate. But the point is, the whole structure of the university system is to lead people to be able to think for themselves.
Didn't your government get rid of the piece of legislation that was going to guarantee freedom of speech? The Tories brought in a piece of legislation to guarantee freedom of speech at universities, and the Labour government dropped it. It was coming through and you dropped it.
Yeah, I think it's really dangerous, and I agree with you, Barry. Universities should be somewhere you can hear every view and you can debate things, but it seems to have become, it is difficult for young people to stand up and say something different to what their
much easier to come out gay than come out on the right.
Teachers, it is, and I think certainly my school. I went to a girls' grammar school in Wolverhampton. When I was standing as a Conservative candidate in 2019, somebody just put on the internet, "Oh, one of our old girls is standing," and it was just like left wing, left wing, left wing. Nobody put, "Oh yes, I vote Conservative." Nobody, because that school you can talk about, worthy things. You can talk about slave reparations. You can have strong opinions on everything. But when you've got universities more interested in pulling down statues rather than educating everyone about those statues, and yes,
though again, have hope and have faith. During the Wellingborough by-election last year, all the candidates, apart from the Reform candidate, were invited by the politics department at Wellingborough School to speak to the sixth formers, because some of the sixth formers were voting. And we got in touch and they said, "No, we're not going to have a reform, you're ghastly." And then the sixth form society itself got in touch and said, "We want to hear from you."
Good for them.
And at which point the teacher had to surrender. So have faith.
Sadly, we have had a class of teachers who decide they're going to teach children what to think, not how to think. And Charlie Kirk, having ideas, I didn't agree with everything he said, but he was very eloquent and he took the Bible very literally. I know a lot of Catholics are finding it very refreshing to have someone speaking about pro-life and speaking about traditional marriage. It's got me thinking, and I would rather listen, even if it's Barry, if it's...
even if it's Barry. That's the worst thing you could hear, is basically, that's your example.
With Barry on probably a lot of things, but I'm always happy to hear why he thinks what he thinks, and I think that is what I would like to get back to.
I think a lot of the problem as well is the educators. So, I mean, you had this president-elect of the Oxford Union almost celebrating the fact that somebody's died. I mean, without even by your leave thinking that actually that might be a bit inappropriate. However, it doesn't matter what your political view is, it's very bad to celebrate somebody's death.
Yeah, I watched him debate
these are the people teaching at
No, he's a student. He's the president-elect.
However, he has apologised, and I defend someone's right to not have their life ruined if they say something stupid and apologise afterwards, because I think it's important that we try and show the tolerance and understanding that is perhaps not always reciprocated.
I agree with you.
But can I also just very quickly say, it also starts with you, sir. When I was learning politics at college and uni, I had a teacher he couldn't have been more left-wing, but because at home I had a mother and father who had started with nothing and under Thatcher started their own businesses from scratch with no help whatsoever and had that sort of free market, small business thinking, I found myself the lone voice in those classes arguing Thatcherism to my politics teacher, and that came from them. It will come from you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And also, just on his note about what he was saying about diversity hires and things like that, I agree with him, because I've seen many people who aren't that talented, but they have been picked because of the colour of their skin. And when I was younger, there was always they'd pick one person who was black, and if they picked the black person, I was never going to get in, because I literally would have to wait for that person to die or move on before there'd be a space, because they'd reached their so-called quota. So for me, the whole diversity thing is actually the worst thing ever. And then if you are talented, everyone says, oh, you're only there because you're black, which is terrible. So, so from my perspective, even, as a woman of colour, I just look at that and think, I just want to be picked because I'm good.
Yeah,
and
you're the best for the job.
That's got the biggest applause of the night.
For the Great British Giveaway, and it's your chance to win our biggest prize ever. It's worth £100,000. It includes a 4-berth motorhome worth £74,000, 30 grand in tax-free cash. Here are the details.
You're not going to want to miss our greatest Great British Giveaway so far. You could bank an incredible £30,000 in tax-free cash to spend however you like. And if that wasn't enough, you'll also get to drive away in this brand new motorhome. With thanks to Marquis Leisure, this brand new 2025 Benimar Primero could be yours. It comes with all the mod cons you'd expect from a vehicle worth over £74,000 and comfortably sleeps 4 people. This prize package is worth over £104,000. And remember, if you can dream it, you can drive it away. For another chance to win, text WIN to 63225. One entry costs £2.50 plus one standard network rate message. Or text BONUS to 63225. 5 entries cost £5 plus one standard network rate message. Go to gbnews.com/win. Entries start at £2.50. Call 0903 686 3232. Calls cost £2.50 plus your network access charge. Or post your name and number to GB16 PO Box 8690 Derby DE1 9TT. UK only. Entrants must be 18 or over. Lines close at 4 p.m. on the 31st of October. The winner will be contacted live on GB News, week commencing 10th of November. Please check the closing time if listening or watching on demand. Good luck.
Yes, good luck indeed. Coming up, the Prime Minister's top aide, Morgan McSweeney, fought for Lord Mandelson to remain as US ambassador despite his close ties with the convicted paedophile Jeffrey Epstein. So, does the Keir Starmer need to give McSweeney the boot? I'll find out in just a few minutes what the audience think.
Mornings don't have to be tiresome, especially if you have the right company.
Wake up to news as it happens, opinion and debate, and of course, a little bit of entertainment too.
Because when the kettle's on, we're on.
That's Breakfast on GB News, a show worth waking up for.
Every morning from 6 a.m.
Only on the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
We'll spread the news, you spread the word.
GB News Breakfast, every day from 6 a.m.
It's possible that vanity is involved here, and they're thinking, do I want to look overweight at the launch? Maybe they want to trim down in time for their big moment in the spotlight.
I imagine it's a very image-conscious show as well, with the sorts of outfits that they'll be wearing on national TV every weekend.
Absolutely, very skimpy outfits. Obviously, particularly for the women, famously very skimpy. But a lot of the men are often sort of shirtless or shirts sort of wide open. Also, they're stood next to some of the sort of fittest people on television, which I think would make anyone feel a little bit insecure. And I think this is the first year where these jabs have been so widely available, so normalised. So I think it's not surprising that celebrities who are notoriously insecure. People are sort of turning to them for a little bit of a boost, perhaps, to try and get trim in time for the series.
Yeah, you do look at the professional dancers and think they are incredibly athletic, but there is also such a huge pressure for the celebrities with people commenting on their appearance or the way they're dancing Saturday night after Saturday night after Saturday night on Twitter and various other social media platforms. So perhaps that's part of it as well?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I think that's probably the biggest part of it, really. I mean, I would guess a lot of celebrities, the first thing they do after a big TV appearance is Google themselves or check Twitter and things like that. So, yeah, I think Twitter or social media is ruthless. If someone looks a certain way, people are going to comment on it. People will say anything on social media. It's sort of a wild west. And so, you know what, I think a lot of us, if we were going to be on a really big show of that scale, having never done anything like that before, we would probably be thinking, oh, shall I get this, that done, whatever, you know.
The People's Channel.
From the school run to the home run, watch a new show for all of Britain.
So he can say whatever he wants.
A straight-talking show where all voices are heard.
And, you know, when are we going to stop talking about smashing the gangs and actually do it?
With the stories that matter from every part of our country. There's a bit of a crash landing there for your Chancellor. Bold, fearless and standing up for you. That's me, Martin Daubney, 3 p.m. till 6 p.m, weekdays, here only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Good evening if you just joined us. This is Patrick Christys tonight with me, Nana Acquia, and my live studio audience. And there are questions tonight over the Prime Minister's Chief of Staff, Morgan McSweeney, who's accused of forcing through disastrous appointment of Lord Mandelson as Britain's ambassador to Washington. Reports say that Mr McSweeney ignored warnings over Lord Mandelson's suitability and his links to the convicted paedophile Jeffrey Epstein. McSweeney apparently wanted Keir Starmer to reject calls to sack the Labour grandee when the extent of his lies and his ties to Epstein became clear this week. And Lord Mandelson was nevertheless sacked this week, and many Labour MPs are reportedly questioning McSweeney's influence in Number 10. So, is it time for the Prime Minister to sack his aide? I'm joined now by my panel. Labour MP Barry Gardiner. Jane Stevenson. Christo Fufas. Former spokesman for Reform UK, Gowen Towler. Again, I'm going to have to come to you, Barry, because is it time now? Look, or is Keir Starmer chucking him in front just to make sure it's not him?
Can I just say, I think I'm going to come across as very po-faced tonight. I believe that politicians should never criticise officials and civil servants because they can't answer back.
Is this why nothing ever gets done?
No, I'm sorry, it's not.
Just sack it.
It's the politician's responsibility. The politician actually has to take the decision. And it should never be that an official or a civil servant is thrown to the wolves to save a politician. So I don't want to discuss Morgan McSweeney, right? I don't think that's fair. I don't think it's right. He doesn't have the capacity to come and speak back. He is limited to what he can say in the confines of Number 10. So I think the real question here is, what was the Secret Service doing? What was our security service doing? They must have known. I mean, they're supposed to have this deep relationship with American security services.
Overruled it.
And if it could come out from Washington into a British newspaper, it certainly should have come out to our security services. So the question is, did the security services actually say this at any stage in the process of vetting in the appointment? And if they did, to whom did they say it? And then, at that point, you have to ask the question, if they actually said what we now know, then heads should roll. But I think if they didn't know this then, and I want to make a controversial point here, and it's this. Peter Mandelson is, whether you like him or not, and many people don't, he is a consummate politician. he was the architect of New Labour. In Europe, he was the trade commissioner. And when he went to Washington, he actually, from a position of having criticised Donald Trump, had to apologise. He then developed very good relationships with the White House and with Capitol Hill.
Is that when he went grovelling because he'd called Trump a danger to the world?
No, absolutely.
I mean, how embarrassing again. This is what we're talking about. But, you know, politicians and a lot of the Labour Party making awful comments.
The point is, Nana, he did it. And
he had to.
And we actually then developed a good relationship with the US. So he had the skill set, but he had his flaws.
All right, let's bring
were
Jane
his
in.
flaws known beforehand, and should somebody have therefore blocked
Jane?
Well, I think there are questions coming from Kemi next week about who knew what when, and she's asking for the release of those papers. With Keir Starmer, I'm afraid it's about his judgment, and he has to stop with the shaggy defence of it wasn't me. You know, this is just not acceptable. He is the leader of his party, he is the Prime Minister, and it is his call, not Morgan McSweeney's, but Keir's judgment. He's got a corruption minister being investigated for corruption, a homelessness minister who made people homeless. You know, his lack of judgment.
Did something with a mobile.
Oh, I've got. Would you like the whole list?
Yes,
I've got it.
Christo's got the whole.
We've also got Lord Ali's scandal. We've got the Sue Gray scandal. We've got Rachel Reeves's CV. We've got that one. Reynolds' CV as well. He's a lawyer. He's not a lawyer. The Amesbury by-election. The Chagos outrage. Lord Herman. We've got all of that. Tulip Sadiq. You're right. Oh, and then we had a reset of the government, Phase 2, and then within that week we had Angela Rayner and now Peter Mandelson. I mean, we may be at 0% economic growth, but we are absolutely thriving when it comes to the number of members of the government that are in disgrace. That number is going up every single day. We're leading the world.
Let's go to David. David's got a question. David, there you are.
In light of recent events, including the irregular stamp duty payments and the friendships with paedophiles, should politicians be obliged to reveal personal information which then becomes a matter of record and available for investigation or scrutiny to ensure that this doesn't happen again?
What sort of personal information?
Well, we've got all these bombshells that we're talking about now, which are coming out from the past, that under normal circumstances, when people are employed, they would have to reveal that sort of information.
They do ask you when you're going through your audition to stand as a Member of Parliament, they do say, is there anything in your past that could potentially cause embarrassment if it comes out in the press? So But
that system's not working.
It clearly isn't.
No.
So, you know...
it doesn't seem to be working.
That's very accurate, but I think there has to be a limit, but you hope exactly that people going into politics do so for honourable reasons.
I think surely... and I agree with you, Barry, Mandelson is probably the only figure in the Labour Party who could do the job as ambassador to the US. It's a big problem for the Prime Minister to replace him because he's done actually a fantastic job as ambassador. That doesn't make him a fantastic man, but he's a very good ambassador.
Exactly.
And in fact,
if he is, though, because Donald Trump is a peacemaker. Donald Trump was speaking highly of
I think, to be fair, he was a fantastic ambassador. However, he's the only person in politics who's been sacked more than me. We knew. He's been busted on time and time and time again. This is not a surprise.
On that basis, I think what makes you good
is
you're
not a surprise.
all-round good. So if you're bad at other things, then you're not good. And he was a very bad choice as a Keir Starmer, just even with his history. Somebody comes to you and says, I've been sacked from every job I've ever had, you'd be like,
Yeah, I agree. However, that doesn't... He is actually very good at some things, and that was one of them. It's just that everything else is a rather balanced against.
He has his flaws as a human being.
Don't we all?
He was an effective politician. And that's why I can say, I think, if the Prime Minister did not know, or if the official...
How could he not? How could he not?
No, didn't know what has lately come out about that letter and the closeness.
But he knew he'd remained friends with a prolific sex offender who abused children. He knew that... I think Mandelson had said, I regret continuing the friendship for a long time. So it's only the emails that are new. We knew all the other stuff.
famous last words. I have every confidence in you. Well, coming up, the number of Channel migrants who have crossed into Britain since December 2018 now exceeds the entire British Army. How much more can we take? That's next.
I forecast a perfect holiday in the sun.
Weather looking good then?
For sure, and no worries about our travel insurance.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GBNews Travel Destinations Forecast.
It's a mostly settled picture across much of Europe. Occasional sunshine in places, otherwise lots of sunshine. And that's the story across Spain and Portugal. Mostly settled here, plenty of sunny spells, though we could see some showers affecting Barcelona, also parts of Nice. But elsewhere across Italy, the Adriatic coastline, all the way through into Greece, it should be mostly dry, settled, plenty of sunshine. And that theme will continue as we head into next week, along with the warm temperatures. Bye-bye.
All Clear Travel Insurance sponsors GBNews Travel Destinations Forecast.
Hello there, good evening. Welcome to your GB News weather update from the Met Office. This weekend will start off with sunshine and showers, but eventually turning wet and windy through Sunday with a Met Office wind warning in force across a large portion of the country. The reason for this unsettled spell of weather, well, it's all thanks to low pressure situated to the north of the country, bringing us in this westerly flow. So we often bring in fronts, if not some low pressure systems from the Atlantic. Now through into this evening, we will see showers continuing for a time, if not some quite heavy showery outbreaks starting to push into southern Scotland, northern parts of England. Some quite heavy downpours associated with this and also some strong gusty winds. Fair amount of cloud around, so temperatures aren't dropping too low, lows reaching around 8 to 9 degrees Celsius. To start off the weekend then, there is going to be plenty of showers, particularly across Scotland through the early hours. This heavy band of showers eventually clearing its way northeastwards, quite breezy at times and still some isolated showers around western coasts. A fairly cloudy start to the day across Northern Ireland, some heavy showers just pushing into western coasts. And elsewhere across England and Wales, a mixture of showers and also some sunny spells. And that's pretty much the theme for the rest of the day. Now, most showers are going to be pushing into western areas. Some of these could be heavy at times with some hail and thunder. There should also be some brighter spells though, central parts of England, parts of the east and southeast, but it's still worth keeping your rain jacket close, a risk of showers here too. Temperatures around about average for this time of year, highs reaching around 18 to 19 degrees Celsius. Heading into Sunday, and it should remain dry and bright for the first part of the day, feeling a little cool. Things are set to change though, a very heavy and blustery band of rain pushing its way northeastwards, a chance we could see some gales around exposed coast, so turning more unsettled through the course of the day, staying the driest for longest across the far northeast of Scotland. There is a Met Office wind warning issued for Sunday into Monday, so keep an eye on our website for any details.
Westminster's full of talk, but out here, it's the real world. Am I allowed to talk now? No, that's it. This is where it matters, real people and real lives. That's what politics is all about.
In fact, has Trump made a good start? No.
Straight answers, no spin, and just a couple of pints.
How many fingers have I ever got up?
About 10. So join me for Lee Anderson's Real World every Friday at 7 p.m, only on GB News. The People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
You want to know what's really going on in the corridors of power? Labour don't know what to do with you half the time, and that makes you quite lethal in the chamber. Get behind the headlines with Chopper's Political Podcast. Join me, Christopher Hope, as I sit down with the great and the good of British politics. We'll see where this ruling takes us. These are the stories shaping our nation. Chopper's Political Podcast, available now on all platforms. Listen in and stay ahead.
Welcome back to Patrick Christys tonight with me, Nana Aquia, and my live studio audience. Now, RAF Scampton is the historic home of the Dam Busters, could be reopened as an asylum camp to replace migrants' hotels. Now, the new Home Secretary, Shabana Mahmood, has promised tough action, including cutting visas for countries refusing to take back illegal migrants and vowing to... What are you doing?
Barry's whistling the Dam Busters.
Oh, really?
That's been cancelled.
No, it's been cancelled, Barry. Yes, well, she vowed to change things and also to go further and faster to secure our borders. But GB News can reveal more than 181,000 migrants have crossed the Channel since 2018, more than the UK's entire armed forces, most of them young men of military age. Will these measures really be enough to stop the flow? Right, let's take a question. First of all, let's go to Gavan, who is there in the audience.
Yeah, good evening. My question is, I think that the government is just pushing this into the long grass and coming up with harebrained ideas that they hope this will solve the situation. Well, it's not going to solve the situation at the end of the day. What they really need to do is like what the Tories were going to do and send them to another country. That's the only way I feel it's going to sort of like stop them coming over on the boats.
Oh, perhaps.
I mean, all you're doing is just moving them from like one particular type of building into another accommodation at the end of the day. So, you know.
Well, let's start with Jane, because it's your government that sort of set this up.
It set the Rwanda...
I mean the legal migration first of all, ridiculous numbers, then illegal migration, which sort of kind of began on your watch.
Yeah, the small boats, they only started coming in sort of 2019. There were, you know, fewer than 100 people, I think, came over, and then it just accelerated. I think you're right, it needs a much bigger solution, but I think it needs an even bigger solution. I think the whole 1951 Refugee Convention, it is not fit for purpose in the modern world because travel is easier. The UN said in 2022 there were 100 million people looking for somewhere nicer to live because people now know that where they're living is not so great and there are better places. They know how to get from A to B. So the whole system needs to be revised. Shabana Mahmood, she's saying some better things, but it's tweaking around the sides. And while she sounds tough now, she did try to stop a plane load of Jamaican criminals being deported. She can't suddenly be really tough. And then she was celebrating Sainsbury's having to close because there was a peaceful protest outside. And I think, well, I support the right to peaceful protest, but that's got to be balanced with people's rights to work.
Well, maybe there's a migrant hotel or something near her constituency and she's suddenly seen the light. Because that seems to happen with these people,
I
doesn't it?
doubt it. Labour don't have the stomach to solve it. So, but
do you have the stomach to solve this? Do you think your government do have the stomach to do this, Labour?
Well, look, I've been on this programme several months ago when actually it was people from Reform who were saying these people should not be in hotels, they should be in detention camps. Now that they are being sent to detention camps, you suggest, well, that's not enough. Now, everybody wants to close those hotels, but the best way of closing those hotels is to process the people who are in them.
But then they're still in the country.
No, the best way is to stop the boats.
Well, I'm talking about the people who are there already, Nana, because you can't just dismiss that. They're there. And that backlog built up because the Conservatives shut down the court procedures. And actually, that's why you had so many people stacked up in the hotels. So what you've got to do is you've got to get those people who have their cases pending through the courts and decide, are they actually genuine asylum seekers fleeing persecution in their country of origin, or are they here illegally as economic migrants? Once you've done that, you can then say, OK, those people who don't have a well-founded fear of persecution should be returned to their country of origin. And actually, what Yvette Cooper did when she was the Home Secretary was put in place for the very first time an agreement with another country that people could be processed in that country and that people from here could be returned. It's only a pilot scheme. It's only a pilot scheme.
But that was one in and one out. That wouldn't have meant that there were fewer people because we'd have got one back. Wouldn't it? I mean, is my maths wrong? But one in, one out.
The thing is, it's not even one in, one out. It's one out, but they can actually bring more than one in.
Christo made that point last week, and this is the reason that it's wrong. Because actually the whole point of doing that was that if you're separating those who are genuine asylum seekers from those who are not, then the people who you're getting to come in are the people who are genuine, and it's a deterrent to the people who are not, because actually it's much better if you don't have to.
But you know, Barry, I'm sorry if I'm getting repetitive, but solve the problem and I'll stop. I really will, because the reason I'm getting repetitive
if you think it can be solved quickly, you're wrong.
No, but what we
all those people here just waiting their court case.
Just quickly, I actually agree with the people that are saying, look, it's ridiculous that we're processing them quicker because it means that they stay here. However, I will cut Shabana Mahmood some slack. I mean, I don't know which Shabana Mahmood we're getting this week, because you're quite right, the position seems to change. But actually, I do think we need to be thinking about where we put people, and it's the cost of the hotels which is driving people up the wall. So why can't we do a Nightingale Hospital thing, take some of these bases, rather than trying to refurbish them and it costs millions, build quick places and get them in there?
Well, that is, Barry says, a few weeks ago, Reform wanted to put people on these military camps. We still do. Yeah. But one of the key differences is we want to put a fence around that camp.
Detained.
They're detained. I do not believe this government's idea of putting them in camps means that they have to stay there. Part of the problem with the hotels isn't they're in the hotels, it's that they're not in the hotels. They're wandering around the streets and scaring people in many cases, or in some cases. And this isn't... The detention is before deportation. It is not detention before coming and staying here. Because if you arrive here illegally, you never, ever get the right to remain.
Yeah.
Ever.
But they should have safe and legal routes.
There are safe and almost 1 million people arrived through safe and legal routes the year before last, under the Tories. So there are still... Clearly there are safe and legal routes, because that many people turned up safely and legally.
But that was Afghan interpreters, and there was the Hong Kong...
But there was
special...
But the Afghan interpreters thing we discovered later was a complete stitch-up. There were about 3,000 people who did work for the British forces, who we do owe a debt of gratitude and honour to, but about 25,000 people we didn't.
Yes.
And that was a screw-up by the Tories.
I agree.
So you can't just say all Afghans.
But I think the processing, what Barry was saying about we're going to process them faster, then they're presenting to local authorities as destitute, and then they have a responsibility to house all these people.
Actually,
so there's too many people who can claim asylum.
As many people in this audience will know, who have children, single men who've tried to get on the housing list, those people don't get housed.
Well, where are they
going? That's part
going?
of the housing problem that we have.
Great, so we end up with more of them homeless, more tents everywhere, or they bring their family over, and then they're restrained on the system.
Because they have a legal... Because they have a legal... The government has a legal right to just duty.
Frankly, we can't afford it. It's too much. And the reality is, it's a law of supply and demand. We haven't got enough houses to house even our own people in this country, let alone people who have come here via small boat. That's the bottom line.
And of course... This week with the It's
the moment you've all been waiting for. No, it's not the giveaway. It's time for the audience to crown their greatest Britain and Union jackass of the week. Don't go anywhere.
In the GB newsroom, we bring you the news as it happens.
With our team of dedicated journalists across the UK,
we're ready to keep you up to date with what's happening every half an hour, every single day. Bulletins here on GB News,
the People's Channel,
Britain's news channel.
This is GB News, Britain's news channel.
Welsh women say they were stunned when an Airbnb host rejected their booking with the only explanation given, because you're from Wales. The pair had planned a night out in Manchester to attend a concert, but now accuse the host of outright xenophobia. One of them joins us now live to share exactly what happened and why she believes it's a case of discrimination. Joining me now is Gemma Louise Goff. Gemma, thank you so much for joining me. I can't believe your story. It sounds astonishing. So basically, you and your friend, you're in your 30s, you're not exactly, teenagers, you're not a group of young men, booked an Airbnb to go and see a gig. Tell me what happened then.
Well, we found the Airbnb. It looked really clean. It was in the centre. It was exactly what we wanted, just a bed for the night. And we messaged, we paid up front, and she then messaged within the hour, sorry, we had the email saying that it was declined and refunded. So we'd messaged and said, you know, like the message says, really politely, "Hi, why has it been declined?" with a kiss on the end. And she literally only wrote that one word, and Wales was in capital letters, so it was more like against Wales. It was utter shock.
What did you think when you read? I mean, did you think it was a joke? Maybe she was sort of like, you know, had messaged you when she was drunk and it was just a joke? Or I can't believe anyone would actually say that.
I've never faced discrimination on any level before, so the experience was quite surprising and unsettling at the same time. But I was in utter shock. It made me feel instantly like an outsider and not welcome for the simple fact I'm from Wales.
GB News, the People's Channel.
5 hosts, 5 opinions, 5 fearless debates,
5 unfiltered takes on the day's news.
5 reasons not to be anywhere else on Saturday night.
This is the Saturday 5. You got me good there.
Britain's biggest Saturday night TV show.
It's not a bad brand. Yeah. Uncensored.
Very, very racy tonight on the unpredictable.
What did she say? Can you translate it for us?
And always entertaining.
And how can a country go from being led by William Wallace Saturday nights from 6 p.m. only on GB News.
The People's Channel.
Britain's news channel.
You're going to want to stay tuned, trust me.
Well, good evening and welcome to Patrick Christys tonight with me, Nana Aquay. It's time for our Greatest Britain. So who should we start with? Barry Gardner, who's your Greatest Britain?
Sharon Hodgson, one of the loveliest MPs in Parliament. Jane and I were talking about her earlier. A lovely woman. She had her office fired this week, set on fire by an arsonist. A real example...
Allegedly. Well, somebody burned it.
Well, somebody.
Somebody burned it.
And the way in which she has responded with dignity, just getting on,
all right,
being more concerned.
We've got to speed through these, though, to make sure...
OK, it's in. Sharon Hodgson.
Jane's is.
Mine is, it was their National Day this week, Gibraltarians. There were some great interviews on GB News with this chap here on the screen. They are so proud to be British, and it was so lovely to see all of the flags all over Gibraltar. So, Gibraltarians.
All right. Graham Towler?
Jofra Archer, for the most staggering performance on Sunday, taking the sword to the South Africans. He got four wickets, 18 runs off 9 overs. It was an absolute storm back to form.
And Christopher.
That was like a foreign language to me. I didn't know what on earth you were talking about. OK,
heathens, the lot of you.
Obvious reasons, it's going to be an honorary Greatest Britain. We've discussed it already, Charlie Kirk.
All right. Well, let's start with... OK, so Barry... let's see, who do we want? So, no, for your one, don't you get a round of applause to see who gets the biggest round of applause?
Oh, yeah, Sharon Hodgson.
Polite.
Gibraltarians.
Quiet.
Jofra Archer. Polite.
Or Charlie Kirk.
OK, Union Jack-ass time. Barry.
Northamptonshire Council. There are 40 families whose children have been born with defects, and they believe that it's because of the toxic sites that have been dumped around the town of Corby.
Awful.
And there was a good expose on television called Toxic Town, and they will not release the location of all those toxic sites. They are my Union Jackass.
All right, thank you. Jane.
Gosh, that was a very serious one. I am old enough to remember the fantastic Catherine Tate show, and there was a character there who used to volunteer to do things she was completely underqualified to do, and she'd very helpfully go, "I can do that." and my Union Jackass, I'm afraid, it's a repeat. It's Queen of Thieves, Rachel Reeves.
Let's have a quick look at Rachel
clearly
in action.
Just not
She's incompetent,
quite up for the job.
All right, let's see Rachel in action.
We're about to start in 10 minutes. And we don't have a drummer, so we can't do the show.
I can do that.
Run the UK economy. I can do that.
OK, Christo, you first.
OK, I'm going to go for our capital city staggeringly being brought to a standstill. So Sadiq Khan, TfL and the RMT because of the strikes.
Well, let's take a look at Sadiq Khan in action.
It's really important for RMT and TfL to negotiate differences rather than strike action. Strikes are ultimately a sign of failure. That's why it's important to resolve these.
Well, I'm glad you recognise your failure. Thank you very much, Mr Mayor.
Brian, finally.
And Lord Mandelson, for reasons that I say are obvious.
All right, all right. All right, let's go through them. For Barry, Northamptonshire Council. OK, I just have to read this. Yes, so a spokesperson for the council said waste from the former steelworks was moved to Dean Quarry, a former landfill site on the outskirts of Corby, where it was buried. This site is managed under an environmental permit held by Northamptonshire Council, and compliance with the conditions of the permit are regulated by the Environment Agency. Gas and water sampling takes place on the yearly basis as part of the requirements of the permit.
That's quite a long one.
Right, OK, James.
Rachel Reeves.
Sadiq Khan.
Peter Mandelson.
Who gets tie?
It's a tie.
Oh, I think it's a tie. It'll be a tie. We could tie. We'll tie.
You'll tie Sadiq Khan and also Mandelson will get that one. Well, listen, I've got to say thank you so much to my panel, Barry Gardner, James Stevenson, Christys, and a huge thank you to you, my brilliant audience being here. I'm Nana Queer. I've been in for Patrick Christys tonight. I'll see you tomorrow.
Today's outlook: cool, calm and completely horizontal. Boxed Aircon sponsors the weather on GB News.
Hello there, good evening. Welcome to your GB News weather update from the Met Office. This weekend will start off with sunshine and showers, but eventually turning wet and windy through Sunday with a Met Office wind warning in force across a large portion of the country. The reason for this unsettled spell of weather, well, it's all thanks to low pressure situated to the north of the country, bringing us in this westerly flow. So we often bring in fronts, if not some low pressure systems from the Atlantic. Now through into this evening, we will see showers continuing for a time, if not some quite heavy showery outbreaks starting to push into southern Scotland, northern parts of England. Some quite heavy downpours associated with this and also some strong gusty winds. Fair amount of cloud around, so temperatures aren't dropping too low, lows reaching around 8 to 9 degrees Celsius. To start off the weekend then, there is going to be plenty of showers, particularly across Scotland through the early hours. This heavy band of showers eventually clearing its way northeastwards, quite breezy at times and still some isolated showers around western coasts. A fairly cloudy start to the day across Northern Ireland. Some